Hi, I'm Roamy. Today I'm going to show you how to use the Ergobaby Alta hip carrier and also the Ergobaby Lift to carry a 4-month-old. So here I've got the Alta carrier. Now the Lift is literally this carrier but without this top piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate it to you with the main body carrier, and then I'm going to demonstrate it with just the hip seat part. So if you've got the Lift rather than the Alta, skip forward on the video to the part that's just about the hip carrier. So this is the new Ergobaby Alta carrier. So it's basically designed as a 2-in-1. You've got this hip seat, which looks like this. And then you've also got this part to make it a hands-free carrier. So when you get it out of the box, this should all be attached, but if for any reason it's not, there's a little zip that attaches the main body of the carrier to the hip seat. So you just zip that on there, and there's a little bit of Velcro there just for closing it over when the panel isn't on there. So when you first get it out, you're going to need to set up the waistband. If you have a look on here, you can see that the webbing goes through a number of these loops. So depending on your size, you may want to unloop some of these through so it fits around. So what you can do is you can try it around your waist first, see what you need to adjust, and then do it so accordingly. So I've used this before. So I'm just going to bring this around. So I'm going to put that in front of me, bring this all around, and then swivel it to the front. So you're going to want to make sure that when you put it on, these will cover over each other, and you want to make sure that you can then clip it in. So I've needed to take mine out of one. You may need to take it out of more. You may be able to leave it in there. So that's kind of the setting around like that. So it will depend on how tall your baby is as to where you're going to wear this. So for 4-month-old, I'm going to wear this around my waist, but as they get bigger, I'll move it down onto my hips. So I'm going to clip this together now. So I've got a little elastic loop here. So you're going to pass your buckle through that elastic loop and then clip it in to the buckle there. And then you're going to tighten it across so it's snug but not uncomfortable. You want it tight like a belt. Okay, and bring that across. And obviously if you've run out of tightening space, you can always take that out from the next loop. So make sure that's nice and secure. You've got a big long taily bit here. Once you've got it set up, just roll that up like this and pass the elastic back round over it, and that will just make it all nice and neat and tidy. So once you've got it set nice and snug, swivel this back round. Now I'm going to show you carrying baby on the front with it like this. I will make another video to show you how to put them on the hip, but I think when people are using this with the main panel like this, people are generally going to be using it for a front carry, and then they'll probably be using this on its own for a hip carry. Now I've just noticed this is pulling away from me slightly. Can you see there's a bit of a gap? So I'm going to swivel this back around and just tighten it a little bit more. You do want to make sure this is really nice and snug against you, because otherwise what it will do is it will tip away and that will then hurt your lower back. So I've just brought this piece in between me a bit more, tightened it round, and now swiveling it back. So now that that's on here, that's not pulling away from me. So I've got that nice and central on my front. Now there are 3 different ways of doing up these straps. One is where you clip it behind your neck, one is where you pre-clip it and pass it over your head, and the other way is where you cross the straps. Now I'm going to show you all the different methods here. So again, if you know which method you're going to prefer, skip forward. If you're not sure which is going to work best for you, have a watch of all of them, see which one works best. I'm going to put down in the description how to skip forward to each bit, so it's nice and easy if you want to skip to, say, crossing straps, clipping behind the neck. Anyway, I'm going to start with the first one. So how I've got this set up for now is this clip that goes across the straps. I've got it slid right to the very, very bottom of the straps. So if you're looking at the strap, you've got the one connected to the body. You've got the top bit, which has got its little popper here. I've slid them right to the very bottom. And I've tightened it up as tight as it will go. Now it will depend on how broad you are as to how tight you need this to go. So it's going to be a little bit of trial and error. For me, because I'm not massive, I've got it fairly tight. If you've got a broader back, then you want to have a little bit looser. But when it's on you, you want the straps to lie flat on your body. So I'm starting you with it like that. Now these straps here, they're going to be tidied away like we just did with the waistband. So unravel that. And I've got, again, your carrier probably will have these done up. It depends. Just make sure they're done up straight. So it's done like a rucksack. So you've got this one coming straight round into this buckle here, and this one straight round into the buckle there. And I'm going to loosen them off. So I've got about 20 centimetres left at the end, but they're pretty loose. So they're looking like that. Okay, right, I'm now going to pick up my baby. Now, as I said at the start, I'm demoing this with a 4-month-old. Now, this carrier doesn't generally fit until baby is at least 4 months old. The reason for that is, can you see the width here? You want it to fit nicely from one knee to the other, so the lower leg hangs straight down. Now, my doll is just fitting. I'd say probably I'd like their legs to be that tiny little bit longer, ideally. But yeah, my next size up doll is really big, so I'm showing you with this one. But you want it to fit nicely from one knee to the other, so a lower leg hangs straight down. Now with this, it's fairly straightforward with where you hold baby. You literally sit them down on the seat with the little legs coming towards you, and the seat is slightly tipped towards you, so it makes it kind of nice and easy to get in position. You want to make sure their head is on your upper chest. So you know we said earlier about where to put the waistband. I've got it on my waist because now baby's head's on my upper chest. Obviously as they get bigger, I'll want to wear this a bit lower, or if my baby has a very long torso, and depending on the height of my torso. But you want their head to be on your upper chest, so it's below your chin on the solid part up here. So I've got baby held against me here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this panel up, so I'm holding baby with the panel. Now I want to make sure this goes no higher than their earlobe, and then once they've got full head control, no lower than their armpits. So just hold them across their shoulders, and then I'm going to take this clip and pass it up and over my head like this. I'm going to put one arm through one strap, hold baby with the other hand, put the other arm through the other strap like that. Now what I'm going to do is pull down from behind, and can you see that moves all the strap here? So if I pull down here and then forward, and then I'm going to let go and just pull that straight back. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing all the slack around to the buckle. And do the same on this side, so I'm going to pull straight down from behind and forward, and then tighten back. Now make sure you don't do the first one super tight, otherwise you'll end up with one strap really tight around here and the other one loose. So do it a bit at a time, like this, and then again you're going to pull down from behind so it goes nice and taut here, and tighten straight back, and the same with this one. Now the reason for doing that is then you'll be tightening the straps, not baby's stomach. If I just pull here, what will happen is it will pull baby's tummy in and the straps will stay loose. By pulling it down from behind, I'm bringing all the slack from my baby's face around over my shoulder, so when I tighten it, I'm tightening the straps but not squishing their stomach towards me. So keep doing that with either side until baby is held nice and secure. Now the key checks are, firstly, you can see baby's face and they've got nice clear airways. You want to make sure this is no higher than their earlobe, and once they have full arm control, no lower than their armpits, so they can have arms out over the top if they want. Make sure they're held nice and snug so they can't slump, and then just check they're sitting in a nice comfy position so you've got the same amount of leg on either side. So if they're not quite even, you can just gently shift them one way or the other. Now if they have got a sleep suit on, just bring the fabric down and round and make sure it's not pushing into their toes like that. So that is how that is sitting. If you look on my back, that's where that band is going there. So as I said before, you can adjust that wider or narrower. You do want these straps to sit nice and flat on your shoulders, so you don't want that piece behind too wide, otherwise these will come off your shoulders. So if you look there, that's sitting quite nicely on me. You can obviously play about with that. So that's how you put the carrier on with the straps pre-clipped. Now that's quite a popular method if you don't like doing things behind you, because all the tightening is done in front. Now there's two ways to actually do this method. So we did the passing it over our head and tightening, but now it's tightened. If you want to leave it set rather than having to completely loosen it, what you can do is you can push your thumb on this button here. You see that button? And then with the other hand, squeeze the clip and that undoes it. And then do the same with this side. So you squeeze and unclip and then pass that back over your head. Now this means that next time, when you pass this over, if you leave them undone like that, then you can reach around and grab this one here, put it down to hold baby snug and around and clip it in. Don't do any tightening because we're going to do the next one next. Again, you're going to reach around straight down around and clip it in. So that's another way of doing it, so that clip is set low. So obviously once it's set for you, you may decide you don't want to fully loosen it and tighten it each time. So you can do it like that if you find it relatively easy to reach around and clip it in. If you don't find that easy to do, then a nice easy way to get out of it is just reach around here, and you're going to lift this plastic bit here, and then with the other hand pull the webbing backwards like that, and then reach around baby with the other hand, lift the plastic just there, pull straight backwards, and then you can pass that back up over your head. So that's two different ways of doing that method, but obviously the first time you'll need to pass it over and get it nice and secure just to get it all set for you. So we now take baby out. I'm now going to show you the second method. So the second method is where you have the clip behind your neck rather than lower down your back. Now this tends to be the quickest method, but obviously it's only quick if you find reaching behind your neck easy. Everybody has different flexibility. So some people find that movement easy, other people find crossing the straps easy. It's just about seeing what works for you. So what I'm going to do is, at the minute I've got this pre-clipped at the bottom, I'm going to unclip it and I'm going to slide these clips right to the top of the straps. And if you're not sure where the top is, the top has got that little popper there. Okay, I'm going to do the same on the other side. Now again, it will depend on how tall you are as to how high this goes. If you're very tall, you may need it moved a bit lower down, otherwise it will end up too close to your neck. But it's going to be about playing about with it to see what sits right. So for me, I've got this clip right to the very top. I'm then going to tighten these up a little bit because these are going to effectively go over your shoulder like a rucksack. So I'm just going to tighten those up a little. We can tighten them more once baby's in, but we don't want them too loose to begin with. So if you now have a look, I've got 2 loops, one on either side with this clip that's going to go behind my neck undone. So it's literally like a rucksack. Again, I'm now going to pick up my baby. So just like previously, you hold them with their bottom on the seat nice and centrally. Make sure it doesn't go any wider than knee to knee with their lower leg hanging straight down. So support them across their shoulders, and then you're going to slide your hand underneath and stroke this up over their bottom and back so you're holding them across their shoulders. You want to make sure this goes no higher than their earlobe. So keep holding them with one hand, and with the other you're going to put one arm through one strap, hold them with the other hand, put the other one over the other strap. Now, I've tightened these straps up so they're relatively snug. Obviously if they're super loose, do a bit of tightening, but we don't want to fully tighten it until we've clipped the piece behind our neck. So what I'm now going to do is just take hold of one strap and the other here. So I'm keeping baby nice and snug and slide my hands up to behind me. Then I'm going to find this clip and clip it together behind my neck. Now I'm going to hold baby with one hand and then let go of the clip. And then just like I did with the first method, I'm going to pull down here so that all the slack comes forward and then tighten by pulling straight back. Hold baby with the other hand and do exactly the same on the other side. So you go down and forward and then pull back. So that's really important because you want to bring all the slack from here around to the buckle rather than tightening baby's tummy. So key things are, firstly, you can see their face and they've got clear airways. You want to make sure this is no higher than their earlobe, or once they've got full head control, no lower than their armpits. Make sure they're held nice and snug so they can't slump. Check their legs are sitting evenly on this cushion, and if they've got a sleep suit on, just bring the fabric away so there's no pressure on their toes, like that. Now, if you look at the back of this, the clip is sitting much higher than it was when we used the first method. So if you find reaching behind your neck fairly easy, this is quite a straightforward method. You may find as baby gets heavier that the passing it over the head with the clip lower or the crossing straps is slightly more supportive for your back if you're wearing it for longer periods of time. Some people like wearing it like this all the time. It's completely up to you. But this one tends to not be quite as supportive just because you've got a big expansive back here without any of the carrier over it. With all of these, I said this at the start about the waistband, but you can tidy all these away. So you can roll this up and pass the elastic back over. I'm not going to go fully. And then you just pass the elastic over and just makes it nice and neat so you can have them all tidied. Because obviously with this method, once it's set, you can literally leave it like this. So next time, I'd bring this up over baby, shoulder, shoulder, clip, done. Okay, so that is the second method of doing it up. To get baby out, reach up, find the clip, undo, and keep hold of baby and bring one strap off either shoulder so you can then lift them out. Now the final method I'm going to show you is with the straps crossing. Now many people find this the most supportive method. Some people find doing anything which goes across their back more difficult. Other people find it really easy. So it's just about trying it to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo these clips. So if you watched the earlier video, you push the button in here and then you squeeze the clip to undo it. And I'm going to do the same with the other side. So I'm going to push the button in and undo the clip. Now, because I've had these straight, if I'm crossing them, they're going to need to be slightly longer. So I'm just going to lengthen these off a little bit, not too much, but just a little bit to make them a little bit longer. Okay, like that. So they're now undone, like that, hanging down there. So I'm now going to pick up my baby and sit them on the little hip seat. And again, make sure they're seated nice and centrally Same amount of leg either side. Make sure this doesn't go any wider than their knees. If it does, you will need to wait a little bit longer until baby's bigger. So support them across their shoulders, and then with the other hand, slide your hand under, stroke this up over their bottom and back, so you're holding them across their shoulders. One strap goes over one shoulder, and hold them with the other hand, and the other strap goes over the other shoulder. So it's looking like that. Now what you're going to do is you're going to reach around with whichever hand you want to, and you're going to grab the strap on the opposite side. Now if you find you can't reach the strap, don't lean back. See what happens when I lean backwards? Lean slightly forward and then it will put it into your hand. A lot of people will be leaning back to try and reach, which actually makes it harder. So reach round, grab the strap on the opposite side, and what you're going to do to begin with is put it straight down to the ground. So you put it down like that, then you bring it round and clip it in round here. And if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know why that is. By pulling it straight down, you're bringing all the slack around to the buckle, so then when you tighten it, you're tightening the strap, but not baby's stomach. So I'm going to do exactly the same with the other side. So you're going to hold baby across their shoulders, reach round, grab one on the opposite side, pull it straight towards the ground. This also locks it in place on your shoulder so that it doesn't go towards your neck. Straight down to the ground, bring it round, clip it in, and then pull it straight back to tighten. Now, if you don't feel it's quite tight enough yet, if you want to tighten it up, what you're going to do is take whichever strap you want to tighten, lift it slightly up and over your shoulder, and then bring all the slack down and round. So it's all come round to here, and then going to let go and tighten that backwards. So again, I'm bringing the slack around to the buckle, so when I tighten it, I'm tightening the strap and not baby's tummy. So just like with the previous methods, make sure you can see baby's face and they've got clear airways, with this top edge no higher than the earlobe. Make sure it's no lower than their armpits once they've got head control. Make sure baby is nice and snug against you so they can't slump. Check they're sitting evenly on the carrier, and if they've got a sleep suit on, just bring the fabric away from their toes so there's no pressure on there. So this is how this method of doing up sits on your back. As I said before, some people prefer it, other people aren't so keen on it, so it's just about trying different ones. This one comes quite differently under your arms. If you don't like the feel of the straps coming straight under your armpits, you might prefer this method. I'd say one of the only downsides is it can, depending on your shoulder shapes, and sometimes slide towards your neck. If you've pulled straight down to lock them in place and brought it round, they shouldn't slide towards your neck. But obviously if you're doing a lot of reaching like this, you may find it slides up, so you may prefer one of the fixed straight strap methods. Anyway, that's 3 different methods of doing up the carrier. I'm now going to show you how to use it without the panel. So it's also sold as the lift. So the Ergobaby Lift basically doesn't come with this panel, it's just the hip seat. The Alta comes with both pieces. So I'm going to take baby out of here. So I'm going to push the button in here and squeeze. Then I'm going to push the button in here and squeeze, and then carefully bring these over my shoulders, and I can lift baby out from the inside. So I'm going to take off this panel now. Now hopefully you can see this. Actually, I'm going to leave it on because I think you can see okay. If you look on here, we've got a little bit of Velcro, then underneath that Velcro there's a zip. So the zip does up on the other side. So if I lift this up over my shoulders, I'm going to lift up this Velcro flap there, and then I'm going to zip the zip across, and ta-da, it takes this piece off. So it's really, really easy to take that on and off. And then I'm going to fold this down just to cover over that zip piece and make it look nice and neat. Now I've already put this on. Obviously it depends on how big your baby is as to where you sit it. You either want to have it up on your waist, or if once baby gets a bit bigger, you can move it down lower. Now this obviously can carry baby on the front or on the side. It really depends on what works for you. You can carry baby on the side from any time you'd normally do it in your arms, which is normally around sort of 4 months when they're kind of able to support their head. But if you're not so sure, you can always keep them on the front, or you can add the other piece just to give a bit more security. Now a hip carrier like this obviously isn't a completely hands-free aid. What you're doing is you're taking baby's weight on here, but you will still need to be holding them against you with one of your arms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swivel this around slightly to one side. So you don't need to adjust anything, you just literally move it around. Now how far around you have it will depend on personal preference. Generally I find halfway between face on and right on the side tends to be best, because otherwise if it's right round under here, they're going to be under your armpit, which will be a bit uncomfy. So go for slightly off centre, but have a play, see what feels comfortable. Again, make sure it's nice and snug, and if you need to tighten it, just bring any slack around and tighten that up. So it's pretty straightforward once this is on. Make sure it's sitting level so that when you put baby's weight on it, it's not going to tip down. So you do want it pretty snug against you. And then all you're going to do is pick up your baby, have the little legs sitting either side of you, like this. So they're sat on the little seat. So you want to make sure you've got the same amount of leg on either side, and just like we did when we had the panel on for the Alta, make sure it goes no wider than one knee to the other. So generally say from 4 months old, obviously it does depend on how long your baby's legs are. So if baby's legs are basically kind of coming out a bit like that, it's not going into their knee, you will need to wait a little bit. So generally from about 4 months, but depends on your baby's leg length. Okay, if they have got a sleep sit on, just make sure that's sitting nicely and it's not pulling on their toes. And obviously, as you can see, I need to be holding on to my baby. So keep one hand around your baby. See, this is why you need to wait till they've got head control, because you're not haven't got anywhere supporting their head, but you're going to need to support them over their shoulders and back. Okay, now as I said before, you want to make sure it's really nice and snug, because otherwise what you're going to find, I've got is happening a little bit here, it'll tip sideways. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take baby out. I'm going to swivel this back round to the front, and I'm just going to bring this around and then tighten that up a little bit more. So it does need to be pretty snug. What I've done is I've tightened it up a little bit above where I want it to sit and then slid it down, but you want to make sure this is all sitting level here. You don't want it to be tipping down to one side. Now you can play about with different heights. So if you feel it's not sitting so comfortably here, you can loosen it off like this, and you can bring it down a little bit. I'm going to need to loosen it a little bit more than that. So I'm going to bring this down quite a bit lower, like that. And then I'm going to tighten it up. Again, make sure it's sitting level side to side. And then I'm going to pick my baby up and hold them there, like that. So you can play about with lots of different heights. You can play about with how far round it goes. Now, different people have different preferences. Some people find having it more towards the front actually sits more comfortably on their hips. Other people prefer having it further around here. So there's loads of variables you can do. But the main things are that you always support baby, and you need to wait until they've got full head control before you can support them without the back panel. So that's how to use the Ergobaby Alta, and then also the lift, which is that part. So the Alta comes with this and the panel, the lift comes with just this. I hope that's been really helpful. If you've got any questions at all, please feel free to ask, and I hope you all have a good day.